So, Nick Ayton, following on from the last video conversation where I was talking about the biggest and the number one mistake founders make when raising capital, and yeah, it seems to be a big trap that so many founders fall into. So yeah, I'm not going over it again, but you have to listen to the last video. But the question is so what can founders do to improve their chances? It's really gone cold here and it's raining. What can founders do to improve their chances to raise capital? And imagine if you didn't have anything like keynote or PowerPoint. Just imagine you had no presentation, and so what then? Imagine you had none of those tools for you. And I remember those times actually, because when I was in business in the early days, it was very early. I worked in mainframes, and then the PC revolution happened, and it wasn't easy. You just about had word processing. So telling your story and telling your idea and pitching your idea didn't involve visuals quite often, unless you got on a whiteboard or a flip chart. The entire basis of going around raising capital and getting people to buy into your idea came down to your own communication skills and your own abilities. And in a sense, I think that's a lost art, that your ability to sell your idea and tell your story. People just use PowerPoint or decks as a crutch. And the other factor is, social media and, I guess digital commerce, in terms of we can communicate with people internationally, and that's fine. But when you're on Zoom and when you're on electronic means, you're not building proper relationships. That's done when you press the flesh. It may be old-fashioned, but it's done face to face. Whites of the eyes, or people get a vibe or they get a feel for you as a person, and it helps create that sort of bond, if you like, and that closeness to keep that conversation going. So I guess what we're saying is that if you're a founder and you're struggling to raise capital, maybe it's because your approach is wrong. Assuming you've got a decent idea and a product or service, but assume your approach is all wrong. Look at that. Who's in your backyard? Who do you know? Who can make introductions so you can go and meet people face to face? Local meetups, local networking events, summits, events that you can tag along to that are in your space. If you're in Web3 or software, or you're in blockchain, or you're in healthcare, go to events, rub shoulders with people, go and talk to people. And when you're doing that, don't get your deck out. Don't go into pitch mode. Make an effort to find out about the person. And if you've just met them, just try and find out how they tick, what they're into, what they're working on. Don't say, hello, my name is Fred. Oh, have I got a great idea for you? Because the guy you're talking to may be in a completely different universe, market, place. May not even be an investor. It may be somebody who's made a lot of money and isn't direct investing in what you do. Maybe they just put their money into funds, or they have somebody else to manage their assets for them. So I think when founders, in the other video, the last video, I had 6 calls today with founders, and universally they're all complaining one way or the other how hard it is to raise capital. And it may well be that the current climate makes it tricky, but there's a lot of capital out there, and even with economic and geopolitical uncertainty, people need to deploy capital because they need to get it earning and making money for them. So when you're thinking about, oh, it's really hard and I'm not getting anywhere and whatever, think about the approach. Is your approach fit for purpose? Are you falling into the trap? And this is, I sort of in a sense blame the venture capital industry for it, because their immediate response is, send us your deck. You go on their websites, upload your deck. It's all about the deck. And that's come from a Silicon Valley obsession with filling the room, not full of decision makers, but filling the room with junior analysts whose job it is to go through 10,000 decks a month. And if we're lucky to go through that sequence and spit out the other end, you might get a conversation with somebody that and that I don't like that. I think it's too hit and miss. It works against the founders. It's not healthy. And how is it that a venture capital company on that scale can go through that amount of content and not miss an opportunity? So therefore, as a founder, don't get involved in that kind of thing. You lose control. You complain that nobody ever gets back to you. You sent your deck, the VC hasn't responded, or when they do read your deck, you know, you don't get any feedback. Are you surprised? You know, the VC industry is a machine, and all they're doing is passing you through filters to try and find the gems. They're just looking for the no-brainers, the opportunities that are top of the pile. So next time, when you're thinking about, oh, raising capital is hard, well, maybe it's worth rethinking. Are you taking the most efficient route? And are you falling into the trap of the same old reliance on the infamous pitch deck? Talk soon.